My name's Sue. We've got 2 children, boy and a girl, and it was Benjamin who's been involved in the Wellcome Language Project. There's a really strong family history of dyslexia, and within my family, my mum had a stammer. So it was something that we were always aware of, and we sort of thought, well, if it is to be, it is to be, but we would like to sort of try and identify it as early on as possible and, give them support. When Benjamin was when he was little, he must have been 4, he was disfluent, so he was stammering a bit. So I took him along to one of the speech and language therapy clinics in Harrogate. From when he started speaking, he talked a lot. He was like a chatty child, and phonologically he wasn't, he didn't have any sort of disordered sounds or anything, or any sort of delay in terms of his sounds. And actually what I felt at the time when I took him, and what they sort of said, and was it was like the sort of demands and capacities model thing, that actually he had so much to say, and what he had to say was sort of a bit ahead of his language development at the time, really. So he was getting stuck some of the time, and that just resolved itself. Having 2 children, the sort of thing of trying not to compare them, but they are very different, and, boy and girl and all of that sort of thing. She could sort of sound things out phonically, and if they have spellings and things and they've got a long word, she will naturally break it into syllables and sound it out, and she seems to find that a lot easier.
It depends on what the spelling is. If it's like a really, really long word, then I find that quite difficult because I can't remember every single word. But if it's like small words that I'm used to, spelling, like connectives and nouns and stuff like that, then I find them really easy.
With Benjamin, when he was very little, he just wasn't interested in doing any sort of arty crafty stuff. He didn't want to pick up a pen or anything, or a pencil or crayons, or he just wasn't interested. And he's left-handed as well. So I sort of found it a bit harder to try and show him how to hold a pencil. And when I sort of started trying to show him that, he resisted it and he didn't want to do it. And so I just sort of thought, if I push it, it's just gonna make him unhappy, and he's not going to want to do it. So I just sort of left it. And at nursery, they were really good. And because he was interested in trains, they sort of set up a play area where he could be the conductor on the train and take people's tickets and things, and like tick off when so they got him so he was interested in doing it in that context when he didn't think it was writing as such. And then when he started school, obviously he did then get the hang of it and get going with things, but his interest in doing that was much later.
I like writing stories and instructions and stuff like that. I like creating stories about things that I like. Spaces, it's like some people couldn't really understand my writing, and I found that really stressing because I did this massive story that I could read, and I thought that people would like it, but they couldn't read it because it was too scrunched up, so I had to read it out to them.
Once Benjamin got to school and he started bringing reading books home, it was really hard to sort of engage him with that. Just actually getting the building blocks of learning the letter sounds and things, he didn't find it very interesting, and he didn't really want to do it, and it was a bit of a uphill struggle with him. So when he had the intervention in school were really good in sort of liaising with us and letting us know what they were doing.
I read funny books like Cinder Boy and stuff like that. Mrs. Powell wanted me to read a little bit of it, but it turns out that I read all of it, and she wanted me to take it home, but I read all of it.
He just suddenly took off, really, with the reading, and as soon as he was able to read things independently and he realised that it gave him the freedom to do that, he's never got his head out of a book.
Well, my favourite books are about aeroplanes at the moment. My favourite fiction books is Harry Potter, and I've read all the Harry Potter books. I like fantasy books and books that are in a series. So if I like the book and I've just read it, and I've got another one that's just like the same but it's different. I read really quickly when I'm reading in my head. Reading out loud is quite hard because I know what I want to say, but it's hard for me to say it because really long words, I can't exactly pronounce it right.
I think in terms of his general knowledge and his knowledge base across lots of different subjects, it's really supported that. And his vocabulary is really, it's really supported that, and his ability to be articulate and how he speaks about things. I think because they supported him in the early stages, sort of seeing where he is now, school can see how much he's sort of achieved and how well he's doing. Also, it's been really helpful to have the reports so that school have got something tangible and we've got something to discuss. So it's not just me saying, well, actually, I'm noticing this. What do you think in school? You know, it's good to have that sort of backup really as well.